Hello. We'll give it a minute for some people to join. And then we're going to dive into feminine energy. How to attract without chasing. This is like the secret sauce. Because if you're in your masculine, you're going to be in chase mode. Masculine is chasing. The feminine is attracting, it's receiving, it's relaxing. So if we think like an analogy, feminine energy is like the flower. And masculine energy is like the bees. So when you cultivate a really strong feminine energy, then the bees, the masculine, just come to you and you get to just sit back and rest. But if you are constantly trying to do it, I see this happen a lot with women who are particularly anxious in their dating life. They're trying to control an outcome. They're trying to force a guy to like them. They're trying to force like it to happen right now with that guy. And so they're showing up in their masculine when masculine is really controlling. But the opposite of masculine, the opposite of control is surrender. Surrender is very feminine and it's crazy. It's like a paradox. The more that you surrender in dating, the quicker you find your soulmate because you're not trying to control everything. You're not showing up in your masculine energy. You're showing up in feminine energy and you're inviting men to court you. It's like these simple shifts that make a huge difference. So let me know where you guys are tuning in from. We'll give it one more minute and then we're going to dive into the lesson today. Feminine energy in dating, how to attract without chasing. I love it. Happy Friday. I'm here in Hawaii visiting my boyfriend. I might be moving here, you guys. That's a little bit of tea. I don't know. Yay. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. We'll give it one more minute and then we'll dive into the lesson. Hello. Yeah, it's feminine energy is really sitting back and surrendering. Yay. Hi, Phoenix. Hi, Sherry. Awesome. All right, let's get started, you guys, because we have a ton to cover today. And just to remind all of you, all of my live streams are posted on YouTube. So if you have to leave early or you're jumping in late or you want to see my other lives, check it out on YouTube. You can see all my lessons there. So let's dive in. Feminine energy in dating. So if you have ever overgave in a relationship, you felt the need to chase after a man and prove your worth in dating, that is showing up in masculine energy. Masculine energy is that doer energy. It's like if I overgive, if I cook him dinner, if I am intimate with him, I'm going to get something in return. Feminine energy is simply existing in your divine nature, which inspires a man to chase after you. It's literally as simple as being in your divine feminine energy and not lifting a finger. Then masculine men seek you out. This is like the secret sauce to dating because it's how to get a soulmate, how to get a great relationship without doing anything. It's really like harnessing a specific energy that attracts in masculine men who want to provide for you, who want to protect you, who literally just want to see you flourish. That's the masculine. And I'll say it once, I'll say it again. These men who think that providing for a woman is, I don't know, like a weird thing to do, that's a man in his feminine. A man in his masculine, it's like obvious. It's like, of course I would provide for her. Of course I would protect her. So I'll get that out of the way. So feminine energy, a big misconception on this is feminine energy is not passive. And it's also not manipulation. Feminine energy is magnetic, it's receptive, and it's confident in your value. It's knowing what you bring to the table. It's like that quiet confidence that women have, and you're like it draws your attention to them. I do think sometimes people think feminine energy is like the dark feminine that manipulates men and is really cold. I highly disagree with that. That's more of a wounded feminine. If you're trying to manipulate a man into being something he's not. And while that can work for a period of time, it's really not a long-term strategy, because if you are trying to manipulate a man into being something he's not, eventually he will go back to his true nature. And also, knowing you deserve better than to like manipulate a man into being something he's not. You are worthy of a man who chooses you. You are worthy of a man who shows up consistently for you, not a man you have to convince to do it because of these ridiculous tactics. All of you are above that. So by the end of this lesson, you will understand how to embody feminine energy and to stop chasing after men. This is how you naturally inspire men to put in the effort to chase after you. This is like the secret sauce. So I want to hear from you guys before we get started. When you hear the term feminine energy, what comes to your mind? What do you think about? What do you know about feminine energy before we even get started? Love, that's a really good one. I see a lot of times people think the feminine is like yoga. It's really soft. Yeah, really soft. Compassion, also very true. Nurturing, good one. Yeah, these are all great examples of feminine energy. So, yeah, being confident, good one, Rebecca. So, when we get into feminine energy in this live, I want to really break down to you what it is and what it isn't. So, feminine energy is being, it's relaxing, it's resting, it's restoring. Masculine energy is doing. So, feminine energy is that openness, it's a playfulness, it's also intuition. The feminine is very intuitive, she leads with her gut. Masculine energy is more in pursuit, it's in direction, it's in structure. So you think about like a very masculine man. When I picture my partner, for example, he's very structured. He's very into doing. He has a schedule of what he's going to get done in the week. The feminine is more with flow. We think of the feminine more in like our cycles as women. There's certain weeks we feel like doing a lot, and there's certain weeks we feel like resting. It's more in a cyclical manner, whereas the masculine is more in a 24-hour period. So some common myths about the feminine that I'm going to debunk is that the feminine energy is really submissive. Feminine energy is strong AF. Feminine energy is when like a man is trying to pull one on you and you're like, not today. It's strong and it's confident, but it's also very controlled. I would say like the more emotional regulation you can harness, the more powerful you become. You really become very powerful when you understand how to control your emotions and wield them in a way that serves you. Whereas another myth is that you can't be strong and feminine. I think like the way that the feminine energy is popularized is like pink yoga outfits and resting and receiving and sitting back. And while yes, that can be feminine, there's also a strong element to the feminine where it's like showing up, knowing your worth, holding strong boundaries with men, not allowing them to walk all over you. That is super effing feminine. Feminine, it's not yelling at a man when he disrespects you. It's withdrawing your energy because you know you deserve better than a man who's trying to walk all over you. It's like, LOL, you thought you were going to do that to me. Try another girl. That's the feminine. It's strong and it's confident and it's showing up with firm boundaries. Remember, weak boundaries, that's none of you. That's doormat, pick me energy. That's the old you, if that was ever you. It's no more. The strong feminine knows her worth, and she knows she's above any man, no matter what he looks like. I don't care if he's 6'5", blue eyes, works in finance, whatever. If he tries to run game on her, he tries to friend zone her, he tries to put her in a situationship, she's like, as if. She knows her worth. She knows she deserves better than that. And she's always willing to walk away. So I would invite all of you, if you think of feminine energy as very soft, I would invite you to start thinking of feminine energy as a dark panther. It's like very fluid and it has this like strong aura to it where it's like, a panther could fuck you up at any moment and you never want to cross it because it will come for you. That's how I invite you all in this live and, for the rest of your life to think about feminine energy. It is strong, but it's like that quiet confidence. It's not like loud in your face. It's like, I will fuck you up if you come for me. That is the feminine energy. That's the strong feminine energy I'm going to encourage you guys to have, because I do see videos that it's like really talking about what I would consider light feminine energy. Light feminine energy is like, oh, sunshine and daisies and dresses. And I don't know. I would say that's entry level feminine energy. That's fine. On this live, we're talking about dark feminine energy, the strong feminine energy that encourages you to have boundaries, that knows her worth, that it doesn't settle for a man who tries to run a game on her. This strong feminine energy is what's going to attract in a masculine man who wants to provide for you, who's inspired to chase you because you're holding strong boundaries. Weak boundaries, which is none of you, I hope, weak boundaries, a man is like, oh, that's boring. He's not inspired to chase after you because he knows he will get you without even trying. If he knows that if he doesn't put in a lot of effort to win you over, you're not going to be impressed, then he's going to put in that effort. That's why your dream relationship, it comes down to you. It comes down to the way that you present yourself and you show up in dating, which I think is very empowering. Because when I was in my younger 20s, I thought it was like going to a certain bar and wearing a certain thing and looking a certain way. And then in my mid 20s, when I had this like epiphany, it was like, holy effing shit. It starts with you. It starts with the way that you show up. It has nothing to do with the external shit. And to really drive this home to you guys about feminine energy, the way that I met my current partner is I was sitting at home, enjoying myself, living a great life. And a guy friend of mine called me and was like, Carissa, I have this great guy I would love for you to meet. And I was like, great, connect us. That's how I met my current partner. It's literally like that is the power of the dark feminine. When you sit back, the masculine pursues you. You don't have to go out on like 30 Bumble dates in a month or whatever these ridiculous videos are. It finds you. So, core feminine traits to keep in mind in dating. Number one is playfulness. So, I would say this comes out in like that flirty banter where it's like you're not being the nice girl, you're not people pleasing when you meet a man because that's not hot energy. The sexy energy is like being really playful, being like curious, being like fun, and just enjoying yourself. That's a hot, sexy energy. The second core feminine trait that is really helpful in dating is being receptive, letting a man put effort into you. If you struggle to receive, I invite all of you to really assess where that's coming from in your life. If you get a gift and you're like, I don't need that, or I don't deserve that, really assess what within me feels unworthy of receiving. I would invite all of you to really have the mindset of like everything the universe wants to spoil me with, I am worthy of. I deserve. I know I grew up in the Midwest, you guys. I live in New York now. And when I first moved to New York, guys would be like, Carissa, can I get you a massage? I'd be like, no. Like, I really thought that was the way you were supposed to respond. It's like, no, I don't want to be too much. I don't want to be too much. It's like the curse that's put on women to not be too much. I literally can't. But now I know that it was really coming from a place of feeling not worthy of receiving. And the crazy thing is, you guys, masculine men want to give you that. They want to provide for you. They want to give you things. So when you stop yourself from receiving, it also hurts them. They're like, oh, I wanted to spoil this woman I really liked. I wanted to court her. I wanted to impress her, but she's not even able to receive it. So really assess where that block is coming from in your life. And I would invite you all to lean into that. Is it feeling unworthy? Is it feeling like too much? And then really replacing that fear of being unworthy with, oh, I am worthy of being spoiled by the universe. I'm worthy of everything I get to receive in this life. The third core feminine trait in dating is embodiment. It's being in your body and not overthinking. So here's the thing to reflect on. Are you showing up to dates and you're in your head? You're like, does he like me? Am I going to get another date? Is he impressed? What can I say to impress him? What can I say to stand out to him from other women? That's a sign that you've slipped into the masculine. The masculine is very heady. The feminine is embodied. It's more showing up in a way that you are surrendering to the universe. You're being in your body. And so if you are in that scenario where you are constantly in your head on a date, I invite you to drop in further to your body and into the present moment and just enjoy the night, just enjoying the night. Because the irony is when you have that present energy, it's seductive to men. It's extremely attractive. The heady energy is repellent because it's masculine. And a man who's in his masculine doesn't want a woman in her masculine. That's why you guys will see scenarios where it's like women who are really successful, very in their masculine, and they're with feminine men who just sit back and want to stay at home and are really lazy. It's because they're showing up in their masculine, so they're pushing a man into his feminine. And I'm not saying that if you're successful, you are in your masculine. Those are two like mutually exclusive things. You can be in your feminine and be really successful, but you have to know when to turn it off with a man. So I want to hear you guys. How many of you catch yourself showing up in the masculine in your dating life? Or do you feel like you're doing a great job already of showing up in your feminine? Yeah, you show up in your masculine. It's so easy to slip into that energy. Yeah, I hear you guys. All right, so let's talk about why men crave women and their feminine energy. This isn't like my personal opinion. This is basically fact. So it comes down to the masculine and the feminine polarity. Men in their masculine are naturally drawn to softness and openness of feminine energy. It creates that spark. So if you guys aren't new to my channel, you know I'm also a certified Tantra coach, which is like a little side quest I'm on. But it talks a lot in Tantra about masculine and feminine. They're opposites. And so if you are showing up in your masculine, he will show up in his feminine. Or if he's truly masculine, he'll go find a woman who's in her feminine. The more that you can show up in your feminine, the more you are going to attract in a man in his masculine. So this is really empowering you guys because I believe in radical responsibility in your dating life. So you have to look at like the past year of your dating life. If you are consistently attracting in men who are in their feminine, so signs of a man in his feminine would be he doesn't want to provide for you. He wants to go 50-50 on a first date. Literally never. Not in this life. You never deserve that. Another sign of a guy in his feminine is he says things like, well, you can text me first. No, he can text you. That's the masculine is pursuing. Another sign of a guy in his feminine is he's going to play games with you. He's going to be hot and cold. The masculine is very direct. He wants to provide safety for a woman. So if he's in his masculine, he's going to be really clear with you about his intentions. Like, I want to date you, or I want an open relationship, or whatever his intentions will be. He will be clear. You will never be guessing. A guy showing up in his feminine energy, he's going to leave you guessing. And that doesn't provide any kind of mental security and safety for you. And the other reason that showing up in your feminine is super seductive to men in their masculine is men bond through pursuit, effort, and investment. So if you're over pursuing him, you rob him of the chance to pursue you. So here's what I mean by that. Most men, they fall in love over a period of time. Maybe he meets you and he falls in lust with you. All right, lust can come and go. It really doesn't mean much. What we're going for on here is having healthy, long-lasting relationships. And the way that a man is going to form this bond with you is over a period of time. You have to keep him chasing you over a period of time, and then he will fall in love with you. And the way that you have to do that is by giving him something to chase after. If you sleep with him on the first date, I'm keeping it super real with you guys, the pursuit's going to die. Maybe 1 in 100 men aren't this way, but the high majority of men are. So you want to wait for that until you and him are in a committed relationship. It incentivizes him to continue to chase after you, to continue to court you. Little things like that, over time, it makes him fall in love with you. And I would even say in the majority of my experience and my clients' experience, men fall in love slower than women. So the longer you can draw it out, the longer you can make him invest effort, time, attention, energy into you, the more he is going to fall in love with you and be hooked. If you know, you know. Hard if this has ever happened to you, because if you know, you know. So here are some examples of feminine energy in action. If a man plans a date, that is masculine. You receive with warmth and you thank him. It makes me feel so safe when you put in effort to plan the date. That's the feminine energy. It's showing appreciation. And to men, it's like gold. And then he's encouraged to do it again. Another very masculine trait is solving a problem. A feminine trait is sharing feelings, not fixing. So another way to invite a man to be in his masculine is asking him to help you solve a problem. Whether it be you need something fixed around your house, or you have a problem with work, or you need his advice on something, you're giving him the opportunity to be the hero. And that invites him into his hero instinct. And the crazy thing is, he likes you more for that feeling. Men love to feel like the hero, and they like women who give them the opportunity. When I was in my 20s, it was like the era of independent women. And that was really seen as like what women should strive to be. And very confused 20-year-old me was like, all right, I'm going to be independent woman. I don't need a man's help. And you know what the crazy thing was? I attracted in tons of feminine men because I didn't need their help. I didn't want their help. I could do it myself. And like, yeah, let's all be super real on here. I believe you guys can do everything yourself. But how nice is it to have a man fix something for you? I'm sorry. It is so nice to not have to do everything yourself. And so giving him the opportunity to do that, and he likes you more for it. Hard if this is making sense, you guys, or if you need more of an explanation on that, more examples. So now we're going to dive into wounds that block feminine energy. Because I do see some women, while well-intentioned, having these blocks that are preventing them from showing up in their true feminine energy in dating. Number 1, control and hyper independence. A lot of this is rooted in fear. It's like, if I don't do it, nobody will do it. And so you want to control an outcome with a guy. But control is very masculine. Feminine is surrender. Another wound that blocks feminine energy that I feel like so many women have, I know I had to work through this, is people pleasing. Thinking that love is earned through effort. So if you grew up in a household where you were rewarded with affection for any kind of material thing, so if you got an A in school and your parents celebrated that, or you got first place in a beauty contest and your parents said they loved you, you've likely formed the internal story, love is earned. And now as an adult, you're dating men thinking that if you cook him dinner, or if you're a size 2, or if you say the right thing, or you're really great in bed, then he's going to love you. Because your internal story is love isn't freely given. Love is earned. And I would invite all of you, if this is your internal story, if that resonates with you, to do the inner work to clear that block. Because when you people please, people can feel it. People pleasing is actually a repellent energy. And I know last weekend, a girlfriend of mine, she started dating this guy and she said, Carissa, I flew him in from Bali. You have to meet him. He's so cool. Da 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 da. And I met him and I could just like, it was almost like an air, like you can just smell it. He wanted me to like him so bad that it was like, it was just too much. He's trying too hard. That's people-pleasing energy. It's repellent. The magnetic energy, that's like the opposite of feminine energy, is I know my worth. I know that I'm cool and I'm that bitch. And whether you like me or not, kind of irrelevant. And the crazy thing is, when you have this energy, it pulls people in. When you can sense if they don't care if you like them or not, you like them. It's a magnetic energy. So if you are in that people-pleasing energy, you have to kind of assess like where that block is coming from, because it's blocking feminine energy. Feminine energy is just sitting back and knowing you're worthy to receive. It's not having to prove anything. Another block for the feminine energy is over giving. I see this happen a lot. Women think like, if I cook him dinner, he'll love me. If I text him first, if I'm, have sex with him all the time, he's going to love me. It doesn't work like that. Masculine habits, when you overgive, you invite a man to show up in his feminine because you're doing the pursuing. Feminine energy is just receiving. It's knowing you don't have to do anything. You existing is enough. And a masculine man knows this. I'm sorry, I see those comments too, you guys, of men like, I want her to text me first. I want her to plan the date. I acknowledge there are men like this. And I will be honest, I would die a cold death before I date one. That's men and they're feminine. That's men who think they're princesses. Good for them. I wouldn't date them, and I don't think you guys should either. A man in his masculine knows to court you. He knows to call you. He knows to book the dinner. Whenever I ask my close friends who are high value men, like, would you ever expect a woman to call you? Would you ever go 50-50 on a date with a woman? They're just like confused. They're like, men really do that? And I'm like, thank you. Hold out for one of those guys. So ways to embody feminine energy in dating. Let's get to the meat of this lesson. These are practical shifts because even though we're covering high level what feminine energy is, I want you guys to walk away from this and know exactly how to apply this in your dating life. I don't want it to be like wishy-washy. We're here to change your dating life. We're here to find you a soulmate. So let's dig into like the practical of the practical. The first thing, someone put it in the comments, it's having a well-rounded life of your own. When you make men the center of your life, you are in for a rough ride. A man, even if he's your boyfriend, your husband, whatever, he's never like your identity. Anytime you give a man like the power of being your identity, you're in for a rough ride because now you're stuck to him. You're going to cling to him. There's going to be a lot of fear surrounding that. The main character of the story is you. That's feminine energy. The feminine leads in the dynamic. So if you think you're the main character, he will think you're the main character. If you think he's the main character, he will think he's the main character. He will start to get these ideas in his head that he's so great and he could do better than you because you're so obsessed with him. So even if you are in a relationship or you are dating, you need to have hobbies of your own. You need to have friends outside of your relationship. You need to have a fitness routine. Things that fill up your own cup, your career. And then he's going to know he needs to show up in his masculine. He needs to treat you right, or you are very easily able to walk away because you have an entire life of your own. Your life isn't obsessed with him. The second way to embody feminine energy in your day-to-day is to get better at receiving compliments. When someone gives you a compliment, don't say, "Oh, well, I bought this dress on sale. Oh, well, you know, it's not that great." Literally just say thank you. That's it. End of sentence. Stop deflecting. Sorry, you guys, I'm going to close the window. They're mowing the lawn now. Sorry, I need to close the door. They literally wait until I'm on live to mow this like massive lawn. All right, how to embody feminine energy in dating. Now, communication. So instead of saying to a man, "I'll just handle it," you take care of everything, which is exhausting as a woman. You need to say, "I'd love if you could take care of that." Allowing a man to help you to do things. And how good does it feel? Just accepting that you deserve that. The second thing, as far as communications, instead of chasing a man via text, responding with warmth when he initiates. So when a man reaches out to you, being very warm. I do see it a little bit confused online of like feminine energy and receiving is like being really cold. No, the feminine is very warm. So when he does reach out to you, being really warm, being very open, that encourages him to reach out again. If every time he reaches out, you're super cold, you're short texting, he's not going to be interested in texting you again. You're almost like in a way punishing him for reaching out. The balance you want to keep in communication, hard to get a date with, hard to get a phone call with, very scarce time, but very warm. That means you're very warm, you're very friendly, you're very playful, you're very feminine. He wants to spend a ton of time with you, and he can't because you have a well-rounded life, and this guy who isn't your boyfriend yet doesn't get priority. He has to earn that. That's the balance. 1 + 1 is 2. That makes him obsessed with you. As far as body language, that is very feminine. Number 1 is relaxed posture. So if you're going on a date and you're like this, that's not relaxed. That's like, I want like nervous. Feminine energy, good posture, and it's very open. All of my lives are posted on YouTube. Thank you. So if you are just joining or you have to leave early, you want to catch the replay, it's all on YouTube. Another quality of feminine energy that is seductive to men is smiles. I get this feedback a lot from men that They need a smile from a woman as like a green light to approach her. It's very feminine. And another very seductive thing, seductive feminine quality is playful teasing. It's like being really flirty, not taking life too seriously. That's the kind of woman he's going to want. Not one who's like cold and stern. It's not attractive. Another way to show up in your feminine is through your voice. So the feminine, it's like a siren voice. It's speaking really slowly. It's selectively pausing to prove a point and maintaining eye contact when you are pausing. That's seductive. Obviously, I'm presenting to you guys and I'm trying to get all this information out as quickly as possible to help you. But if I was on a date, yeah, I'll take chicken. Thanks. Like I would show up very differently. I would show up very feminine, very seductive. It's like that melody to your voice. It's very slow and non-rushed. That's what kind of draws him in. So here are some feminine mistakes to avoid. These are the most common things that I see with my clients. Number one, mystery instead of manipulation. Pulling away to punish a man instead of naturally letting him pursue. I think this is something that is very misunderstood online. Mystery is feminine energy. It's very mysterious. It's allowing a man to get to know you over a period of time. Showing up to a first date like an open book, that's how I see some people. They're like, I'm an open book. I just say it how it is. It's actually giving, you don't have control over the words coming out of your mouth. It takes a lot of skill to harness a filter over the words that come out of your mouth. If you're sitting down to a date and you're word vomiting, you're trauma dumping on your date, that is not a hot, sexy energy. You need to make that man earn those stories that are so personal to you. And the thing is, the more mysterious you can be, the more intrigued he is. And the way that you as a woman, you want a man who gives you safety, who gives you security. Men want a woman who gives them intrigue. That to them is like, oh my God, there's something about her. I can't wait to see her again. And notice how that has nothing to do with this superficial shit of being a certain size and wearing certain clothes and going to a certain bar. It's the way that you are presenting yourself. It's not lying about who you are, but it's revealing yourself to a man in layers. This encourages him to continue to pursue you. This makes him ruminate on you. This is giving like rent-free energy in his head. So another way to add mystery into your dating life is being the one to leave first. If you are on a date, for example, and he's like, let's go to a third bar after dinner, be like, oh, I'd love to, Chad, but I have a meeting in the morning, so I'm going to have to call it a night. But it was so lovely to meet you. You're ending the date first. If you're lingering, that's giving like clingy energy. It's like, I want to spend every ounce of time I can with you. What's the undercurrent of that? You're the main character. He's the main character. No, you have a well-rounded life of your own. This guy needs to prove himself worthy of being a partner in your life. So you're going to continue to prioritize yourself until he proves himself over time worthy of it. It's the same thing with on the phone. He calls you, you're not lingering on the phone until he's done and he has to go. You're hanging up first because you are that fucking bitch and you have things to do besides talking to this random guy. And also, I would even say, you guys, it's like an aura of being unimpressed. let's keep it super effing real on this live. The high majority of men, in my opinion, are unimpressive these days. There's like a very small amount of men who are worthy of being your partners. You want to hold out for those small majority of men who are doing the work to heal, who know it's their fucking job to provide for you. Like, it's this little, like, who are emotionally intelligent. The other ones, you're unimpressed. And so until he's proven himself different from the majority of men, you're not impressed. And it really takes being super comfortable being single. Because when you are super comfortable being single, you aren't going to settle for any Joe Schmo. You're going to hold out for a great guy. Yeah, exactly, you guys. The second feminine mistake to avoid is withholding love. So shutting down affection to control a man. I would highly encourage you guys to never, ever view affection or being intimate with a man as a weapon in a relationship. It is really a sign of like an unhealthy relationship when you're getting into that. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I'm saying it's not really fostering a healthy relationship. So if you are tempted to shut down affection to control a man, really assess where that's coming from. And understanding if you feel the need to do that, it's usually a sign there's something deeper going on. You and him aren't as connected. Maybe there's trust issues, whatever it can be. But resisting using like affection as a weapon. That's giving unhealed feminine. The third feminine mistake to avoid is performing femininity. So if you are pretending to be soft when you are actually super effing mad at your boyfriend, that's unhealed. In studies over couples that fight a healthy amount, couples that fought lasted longer than couples who never fought. And why is that? Because couples who never fight, someone's not being honest. They're prioritizing peace in the relationship over their true feelings. And any kind of long-lasting relationship, I'll just tell you guys, as someone in a relationship, it takes a lot of being honest and working through things and not prioritizing peace, prioritizing the longevity of your relationship and having uncomfortable conversations. So the unhealed feminine, she pretends to be okay with things she's not. And you know what? Honestly, I'll be real. I feel like a lot of women are, at least I feel like I was raised as like, just swallow your anger, swallow being upset. Don't be too much. But the healed feminine, the strong feminine that we talked about earlier, she's clear about what she wants. I'm not telling you to blow up on a guy. I'm obviously telling you to communicate in a calm, constructive manner. But don't prioritize peace in your relationship over being honest when you're upset about something. The healed feminine knows she's righted to all of her feelings. She's not going to prioritize a man and his feelings over her own. And it doesn't help you foster a healthy relationships. 4, a feminine mistake to avoid is trying to earn value to men. Thinking you must do more to be chosen. I see this all the time. People who like they have to dress a certain way and they think they're going to get a certain type of guy. It really comes down to an energy. The blind leading the blind? I don't know. I'm literally cooped up in a Hawaii mansion, so I don't think I'm blind. So, the feminine and masculine dance in relationships. Healthy reciprocity. So you inspire a man to pursue you and to invest in you when you receive with appreciation. So every time he does something for you, he reaches out, he calls you, for example, Chad, it's so good to hear from you. You're giving him that warm feminine energy that encourages him to continue to pursue you. When you, trusting your intuition, actually, that's really important. The feminine trusts her intuition. You guys know I'm in a relationship now, but when I was dating, there was a time I went on a date with a guy in Manhattan. He was like this super hot doctor. There was, on the surface level, he looked like a great guy. But there was something internally that my body was like shaking when I was on the date with him. That's intuition. It's something I can't see that the universe, source, God, whatever resonates with you, is like, stay the fuck away from this guy. Feminine energy is unmatched. I think a lot of women are conditioned to ignore their feminine energy because it's like, why would I feel like that? And we like override it. Your gut instinct is enough. And the more you trust it, the louder it will get, the clearer it will get. Yeah, the gut is never wrong. You felt that with a guy too? Yeah, Laura, you know. So feminine energy and self-worth. There's a really strong connection between self-worth and receiving. So if you don't believe you deserve effort from a guy, you won't let it in. You have to really assess, like, are you shutting down men who are chasing after you? Are you only interested in men who aren't interested in you? I'm not pointing the finger at any of you, but if that's your reality, if you only like guys who don't text you back, that's a sign of a wound that you are being called to heal. Signs that you are operating in low self-worth. Number one, it's over apologizing. Even if it's not your fault, you're like, I'm so sorry, da 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 da. You're over apologizing. I would also say over accommodating. If a guy he wants to book dinner and he only has one night available, you move everything in your schedule around to fit his. That's pick me energy. Another sign of low self-worth in dating, and again, there's no judgment here, you guys, but once you have awareness that you're showing up like this, then you can choose again, is chasing reassurance from men. This one is a little bit gray. This is not as black and white as the other ones. Chasing reassurance from men, if he is already showing up consistently. So if he's showing up consistently and everyone in your life, you're like telling them about your boyfriend, they're like, Carissa, why are you going through his phone? Like, he's the greatest guy ever. Like, you as a wounded feminine are showing up trying to cause problems. Then that's a sign of low self-worth. But in the same breath, I have met with clients before who have come to me and been like, Carissa, there's something wrong with me. I need reassurance. I'm super anxious when he doesn't text back. And then they go on to tell me all the bullshit that guy has done. And I look at them and I'm like, how could you not be anxious? How could you not need reassurance? He's super hot and cold. He's not giving you the safety that you need in a relationship. And so it's not always as black and white. If you're chasing reassurance from a man who's constantly in an up and down cycle, then yeah, that's a normal human reaction. But if he's showing up consistently, he's like on angel behavior, he doesn't have a history of cheating, and you are still nitpicking, looking for reassurance, playing detective, then that's a sign that you are not trusting anyone. It's not that he's untrustworthy, it's that you have a wound to heal. Likely you were burned in the past. That's usually how it goes. And another sign that you're operating in your dating life for low self-worth is downplaying your needs. You prioritize his schedule. You prioritize what he wants. You prioritize getting dinner in the area he lives. Ideally, it should be in your area, but minimally, it should be in the middle. And understanding you are worthy of that. I don't care. I know there are so many men out there who are like, these are too high of expectations. Great. I would never date a guy like that. I always tell you guys, when you hold high standards, it's a filter. When you hold the standard, for example, that you are not going to accept dates less than 24 hours in advance, there will be men out there who are like, that's so unreasonable. That's such a high standard. And now you just filtered out those loser men who had no intention of being a good partner to you. Whereas a great guy who actually wants to be loyal to you, wants to date you, he's going to meet that standard. And so now, without you doing anything, you filtered out loser men who just want to drain your energy, these like energy vampires, and you left space in your life for men who are going to be a good partner. That's why boundaries are the secret fucking sauce, you guys. When you hold strong boundaries, you filter out loser men who think they should pay 50% on the date. So cute for them, not in this life. And you leave room for men who know how to show up in their masculine. It makes life so simple. So I want you guys to evaluate. If you believed you were already the prize, how would you show up differently in your dating life? Either write it in the comments or reflect internally. If you believed you were already the prize in dating, how would you show up differently in your dating life? Would you stop reaching out to men first? Would you cut off men who want to be a situationship with you? Would you stop going over to a man's house in the middle of the night? If you woke up tomorrow and you knew you were already the prize and you were worthy of an incredible boyfriend, how would you show up differently in your dating life? Would you stop initiating contact with men first? Would you stop trying to prove your worth to men? I would stop the situationships. Good one, Laura. I would let go of the 50-50 mindset. Yes, so good. There's no shame here. But it's only when you realize it comes down to your mentality that you start attracting in better men. That's the thing. I used to think it was like all external. And then when I was 25, I literally went through a period of like, I'm not going to date for 6 months because I don't love myself. I want to figure out how to love myself. And the crazy thing was, in that 6-month period, I attracted in incredible men. And that's why I started this channel. Because I was like, oh my God, it's not about external things. It's about internal. It's your internal state. And then you naturally attract in a great guy. Let's take boundaries, for example. If you hold the boundary that you don't accept dates less than 24 hours in advance, it takes an element of knowing that you are worthy of a man who plans a date more than 24 hours in advance, which is a bar set in hell, in my opinion. But it takes an element of confidence of knowing you are worthy of that. If you don't think you are worthy of a man treating you well, you will more likely accept last minute dates. You will accept being what a man does when he's bored on one night. So really all of these boundaries funnel down to having high self-worth, self-love, self-respect. Then you show up differently in your dating life. So feminine energy and attraction. Let's dive into the scarcity principle. Why mystery creates desire. So the scarcity principle really boils down to the more rare something is, the higher we perceive its value to be. So let's take, for example, these Labubus. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Those like little dolls? A Labubu, I don't know how much they cost to make, but it's probably $10. They're just like little dolls. The more rarer of kind of Labubu that you get, the higher the resale value because they're more rare. And this illustrates the scarcity principle. And it's the same way with you as a woman. When your time and your attention and when your time and attention are really rare, he perceives the value of it as higher. That means if you have a wide open schedule, you're always available to hang out, you're always available to talk, you're too available. And then he's going to perceive your value as very ordinary because he can get it whenever. It's not scarce. But when it's rarer to get a date with you, it's rarer to get a call from you because you're really busy, you're that bitch, you have a well-rounded life. First of all, that's giving I have options energy to men. He will assume you're not super available to go to dinner because several men are courting you. Even if that's not the reality, I'm just telling you, that's the way men work. That's what he will assume, that you are in high demand. And that will ignite his competitive side. And again, you didn't do anything. All you did was have a busy schedule or pretend to have a busy schedule. And already you've gone from ordinary girl to dream girl. What if you're living together? So the way to use this in a committed relationship, which I am as well, the way to use this in a committed relationship is still have hobbies and friends outside your relationship. So still have once or twice a week, go out with your girlfriends, go to a Pilates class, do things that are just you. If you're always hanging around the house, wanting to cuddle, wanting to talk, it's too available. The other reason feminine energy is so seductive in dating is the contrast effect. The more feminine that you are, the more it highlights who aren't in their feminine. It gives a high contrast and it makes you stand out in a positive way. I'll be honest with you guys, the day I would chase after a man is the day I'm cold in the ground. I would never do it. I don't believe women should do that. I'm sorry. I think there are men out there who think women should do it, but I would not date any of them. That's how you know. And it's not really about playing games because I'm not advising playing a game. I'm advising you guys to have a life outside of men. That's hot, sexy energy. When you have a well-rounded life, you're not sitting around waiting for a guy to give value to your life. You become the prize to men. Again, it boils down to you. This is very empowering. So, wounded feminine traits that I would invite all of you guys to really assess if maybe this resonates with you. And if it does, there's no shame here, but this is a call to heal. Wounded feminine traits are neediness. So if you're really needy, it's kind of giving like you don't have a life of your own. You're waiting for a guy to give your life meaning. Look inward. How can you fill your own cup more so that you're less dependent on a guy? Another wounded feminine trait is manipulation. I see those videos too. It's just not serving you in the long term. Maybe you can manipulate a guy for a period of time, but it's not going to give you a long-lasting, healthy relationship, which is what I suspect most of you want. Does gym count as having your own time? Absolutely. I'm 31, actually, but thank you. So let's talk about, I touched on it again, feminine energy and boundaries. So there's a big difference between walls and boundaries in dating. Walls are really coming from fear. It's like, I'm going to have this wall up with a man so he never gets too close to hurt me. But a boundary is coming from self-worth, self-love. It's like, I love myself, so I'm going to make men prove themselves worthy of my heart. I'm not sleeping with men on the first date. I'm not exposing myself to getting hurt. I'm holding boundaries and protecting myself. It's coming from love, not fear. It's a huge difference there. The more that you value yourself, I would really debate the higher of boundaries you have, the stronger of boundaries you have. Because when you know you are worthy of being treated well by a man, you hold out for that. You don't accept men who try to walk all over you, who want to pay 50% of the date. You know you deserve better, and you're willing to walk away from any man who isn't going to treat you well. That's hawk girl energy. That's, I know my worth. I know I deserve great energy. And again, boundaries filter out loser men. They're not punishing anybody. I'm telling you guys, when I run my boundaries by my partner and the great men that I know in my life, and I'm like, do you think these are too high a standard? I don't think they're high enough. To drain you that think they're too high of standards. For a while, I kind of like didn't want to put that out there because I felt like it was mean to say, but I don't care. That's the truth. Boundaries filter out loser men who want to run game on you. The tiers of dating up here is having a partner who makes your life better. Below that is being single and pouring into yourself. Down here, below hell, is being with a man who makes your life worse. A man who wants 50-50 on a date. A man who wants to talk to several women at the same time. A guy who's scared of commitment. Literally, you are so much better to be single and hold out and wait for a great guy than to be with a guy who's draining you. Down here, that's giving weak boundaries. That's pick me doormat energy, none of you. Common mistakes that I see with boundaries. Number one, waiting too long to set boundaries. You guys, you have to set boundaries as early on in dating, because if you accept Netflix and chilling with a guy 1 week, and then next week you're like, well, I want to be courted. I want to go to dinner. He's going to be like, wait, you're setting a new boundary. You accepted Netflix and chilling last week, and he's going to be confused. So it's really imperative that you hold strong boundaries from the jump. And you cannot waver on them. It is something in men's DNA. They will try to push your boundaries to see if you will fold. And if you give them an inch, they will take a mile. Mark my effing words. If you go over to his house in the middle of the night, I get these DMs from women. They're like, what if I go over to his house in the middle of the night? What if I really can not sleep with him? What if we can really cuddle? I believe you that you can have that self-control. That's true. But now you've shown him you're the kind of girl who's willing to go over to his house in the middle of the night. And the likelihood he's going to now take you to a nice dinner next week is slim to none. You've just shown him you're willing to waver on your boundaries. The second mistake I see with boundary setting is over-explaining. Women feel like they owe men a justification to treat them right. I get it. I've been there. Those days are over. Now you guys follow me and they're over. No is a complete sentence. You do not have to explain to a man, to an adult man, why going over to his house in the middle of the night is not okay. You do not have to explain to him why you don't want to sleep with him before you're ready. No is a complete sentence. The third common mistake I see with boundary setting is delivering boundaries as a punishment instead of direction. I will be super real with you guys. I think a lot of the boundaries that I advise you guys to have in dating are obvious. But the feedback I get from men time and time again is that they are not mind readers. They need very clear direction on how to treat you the way that you like to be treated. So I'm just reiterating what they have shared with me. So when you are communicating a boundary, I would advise you, unless a guy's overstepping, he's like being rude to you, obviously, delivering your boundary with calm direction. Because like, if you're like, I don't do that, and it's like stern, it doesn't invite him to step up. It's kind of like scolding him. But the calm direction, that's strong feminine energy. That's, I know my worth. And if you don't meet that standard, that's fine. That's on you. So an example of this, one of my boundaries I have, no drink dates as a first date. Dinner is a first date, period. And some of you come back to me and you're like, but Carissa, I don't want to sink in 2-3 hours to a guy I don't really know. And I hear you. But here's the thing, a man who is serial dating, a man who is going on as many dates as possible with women to see which one will sleep with him, he's going to take you on a coffee or a drink date because they're cheaper and they're quicker. So again, this is a boundary that is going to filter out if this guy really wants to date you. If he really is interested in a long-term relationship with you, if he's ready for a commitment, he will invest the time of a dinner and he will sink in the $100 it costs for dinner. So again, it's what's said and the unsaid. I would say dinner is a first date. So how to communicate this boundary? If a guy came to me, if I was single again, and he was like, Carissa, can I take you to drinks Friday? I would say, I would love to get together with you, Chad. I'm available for dinner at 8. And so you're communicating the boundary. I only do dinner dates, but you're not scolding him. You're not like, how dare you ask me on a drink date? That's the strong feminine. So some of the boundaries I advise you guys to have, these are like my go-to with clients. Number 1, I touched on it earlier. No dates within 24 hours. He needs to plan it at least 24 hours in advance. And if he doesn't, you are busy. You're not what that guy does on a night when he's bored. I'm sorry. That cannot be you. And it's also giving like you don't have a well-rounded life outside of him. It's giving, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm in Hawaii and the internet here is really bad. So I'm sorry. No dates less than 24 hours in advance. The second thing I touched on, dinner is a first date. Dinner and only dinner is a first date. Another boundary I advise women to have is not texting after 10 p.m. Because here's the thing, when you're texting late into the night, even if you stay up, even if you're a night owl and you stay up until 1, 2 a.m., you're indirectly telling that guy that talking to him is above you prioritizing yourself, you putting yourself to bed, getting ready for bed, your well-being. It's kind of subtly giving pick me energy. And even better, you don't text him back after 10 p.m. and you text him back the next morning. He's going to be really excited when he gets that text. But you're just making yourself more and more ordinary by texting him late into the night. Another boundary, and this one is important, cutting off poor communication. If a man starts yelling at you, leave the room or end the call. It is not your cross to bear as a woman to take a man yelling at you like an adult man acting like a child. No. I feel like, at least when I was younger, it was really seen as like, I don't know. It was kind of seen as like, oh, if you're a woman and you take this, you're like better. I don't know. It's like forgiving. You are not, like, your cross to bear as a woman is not to be on the receiving end of a man having a fit. That's a boundary. Cut it off, leave. I would communicate when you're ready to talk about this like an adult, reach out to me. But leave. That's a boundary. Another boundary I advise you all to have, holding men accountable for their actions. I've been on one about this recently. Let's make adult men responsible for their actions. Let's do that. The days of men wiggling their way out of like simple things, over. I'm sorry. Like if a guy tells you he doesn't have time to make a res for your date, he cannot be your boyfriend. Like then he doesn't have time to be your partner. I'm sorry. Like let's hold adult men to the standard of adult men and stop giving them easy outs for mistreating women. And a big one, you guys, that I used to have when I was in my younger 20s is I dated men who had had really traumatic childhoods. And then they would treat me badly and I would justify it to my friends, my therapist, everyone. I'd be like, yeah, well, you know, he's really inconsistent, but he had this traumatic thing happen when he was younger. So it makes sense that he would do that. And I remember my therapist was like, but now he's an adult man and he's responsible for his actions. Yes, we can have empathy for people's traumatic childhoods. That doesn't give adult men an out to mistreat women. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. Another boundary I would encourage you guys to keep is not begging any man to treat you well. If he doesn't treat you well, another man will. It's simple as that. Knowing your worth is knowing you are above begging a man to treat you right. Another boundary to keep is not giving men infinite chances in your life. If he burns you once, don't let him burn you twice. Robert Greene, a very famous author, he wrote 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, and he's really big for this theory. Nobody does anything once. You should always assume if somebody does something once, they'll do it again. Because really, rarely, his point is that rarely do people do things outside of their character. It's less common than we think. And so you have to really take radical responsibility, like I tell you guys, radical responsibility. If you are allowing a man to come in and out of your life, that's giving weak boundaries. Why are you giving him infinite chances with you? He's shown you who he is. All right. That is all I have for you guys today. So good to chat with you guys. I promise to do more lives. If you think you're going to carry around a list of 100 demands, you'll stay single. Well, I'm not single and I have all these demands. So they're not demands, they're boundaries. Thank you. You're so welcome, Christina. What questions do you guys have? I'll do a quick Q&A before we sign off. Is it acceptable if a guy matched online to consistently take over 24 hours to text back? There are these like creature men online that, for whatever reason, they love having several women as pen pals because it feeds their little egos. And if you match with a guy online, if he doesn't ask you on a date within 24 hours, or sorry, within a week of you matching, then you should cut him off. A week is plenty of time to plan a date to meet in person. But I do see women who message me and clients as well who tell me they meet or they match with guys, they talk to him for months, they sink a ton of time into him, and then they're less willing to walk away. The psychology term for this is sunk cost fallacy. It's essentially that you have put so much time and attention and energy into this guy, you're more reluctant to walk away because then you're going to lose all of that effort you put in. So that's why after a week, if that guy has not even mentioned meeting in person, cut your losses because you don't want to sink a ton of time into these creature men who get off on like texting several women on a dating app, which is like the low of the low. I'm sorry. You want to text 10 women, but you don't want to take one on a date? You don't want to date that guy. Like, no loss. Exactly. What is the best online dating site to start with? Newbie here. You guys, online dating is fine. And I did a YouTube video. They just came out with a study on how to make your online dating profile most successful. So watch that YouTube. I really break down like everything you should do in your online dating profile. But I do think even above online dating is meeting people in person. Like networking is key. So if I was single again, I'll be real with you guys. I would go to like a tech convention and I would befriend as many people as I can. And I would be asking around for dinner parties and friends of friends and things like that, where you can naturally meet people who are a similar vibe. If you don't like tech guys, that's fine. Then you would, I don't know, whatever your choice of poison is. Get involved in those like fields because the more that you can meet people live, the better luck you're going to have. Unfortunately, there is a lot of guys who perceive themselves as having a lot of options when they online date. And so they're more reluctant to commit. Tech conferences. Yeah. I have a lot of guy friends who are in tech who are great boyfriends. You're welcome. There's a huge fatigue with online dating. Like, that's not even my opinion. That's trending. People are just fatigued on online dating. It's not leading to as many relationships because like people feel so dispensable on dating apps. It's very superficial. You can't really catch a vibe for someone. So the more that you can do it in person, the better. Yeah, and it's exhausting. Yeah. Get in the wild, you guys. If it were me, if I was single again, I would be going to like bars, like hotel, like fancy, expensive bars. I'd buy myself a cheap drink and I'd wait to meet people. Yeah, tech guys are, I think, like where it's kind of at, in my opinion. Yeah, I would go to an expensive bar by myself. That's how you're going to meet great men. Finance guys, if you like finance guys, then I would find, at least in New York, you guys, finance guys all go to like very similar places. Like there's certain spots like in Fidei, for example, or different areas. I would look into that and see where they frequent, and then I would go there. And again, smiling, being super approachable. So not only are you going to the places they frequent, you're showing yourself as very approachable. What do you tell them when they ask why you're all dressed up and alone? I would say just wanted to read my book and felt like a drink. Is it bad to give my first love a chance after 20 years? He recently reached out. We were 17. No, I think people can change. Does it really matter how you dress if you don't like wearing dresses to be feminine energy? Feminine energy does not mean dresses. And if wearing dresses isn't aligned with you, I wouldn't encourage you to do it because then your energy is going to be off. You should wear what makes you feel the most confident. That's what's going to attract in great men. When you're showing up in your most vibrant version. All right, you guys, I need to go eat lunch. It's 2 p.m. in Hawaii. But thank you so much for all your questions. If you need more support, book a one-on-one with me. Literally, like when I get to help you guys work through a dating thing, it makes my day. I love meeting with you guys. I literally just had another client get proposed to. So it's all happening. Thank you guys for all your questions. And I'm sending you lots of love from Hawaii. I promise to do more lives. And again, if you missed this, the beginning or the end, or you need a replay, it's posted on my YouTube. So check